is for the moon, and Tuesday.
Make sure the volume right for Thursday's lecture. You know what I'm saying? Thursday's lecture. We got to make sure the volume right and all that. You know what I'm saying? Real stuff. What's going on? What's going on? What's taking this so long? What's taking this so long? We're going to make sure this volume all right, because this is a real deep lecture. We're going to get into the psychology. The psychology. Oh, yeah. But for the most part, how y'all doing? You know what I'm saying?
Sunday is for the sun, and Monday is for the moon, and Tuesday is hard cause it's really like Mars. Used to have 10 days, not just Wednesday. High flames on Fridays, Saturdays on Saturdays. Wait, let me elaborate. Now put it up to Uranus, were days before that changed up. Everybody dumped up blind, sheep a week when you gon' wake up. Sex is best when we make up, you will never have to worry. Yeah. You got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday.
Happy Thursday, everybody.
I'ma tell you now what you're worth, babe. Let's do it.
See, if you want to be a content creator and a musician, you got to learn how to link it like this. Every day could be a theme song if you put in enough work. Way over 1,000 hours of putting in work. I'm talking about like millions of hours of putting it in. You can just fall back. You got a lot of stuff to fall back on. Real good back pocket energy.
How we did it in the first place. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. I'ma tell you, yeah. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Yeah, I'm still looking for a mermaid. Fell in love with you since the first day. Girl, I'm kinda sick, I need a first aid. Girl, I'm about to take us on our first date. Every time you leave, you hit a nerve, babe. I'm about to pull up at your workplace. Got your girl pick up off the wordplay. Like I'm from Baton Rouge, yeah, you heard, babe. When you go missing, make me search things. Got me feeling in the blanks like a survey. And I don't know all of those church names. Only thing I know is that your workplace. Throwing out our trash when we swerve lanes. Then I'ma clean you up like it's Earth Day. It's your flight day, not your birthday. Got you feeling good like it's Thursday. Yeah. What time is it? What month is this?
Thank God we ain't in the club right now and just ain't a Future song that's going backwards or something like that. Everybody get ready to crash out. Everybody get ready to...
Yeah. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. I'ma tell you now what you're worth, babe. Let's do it how we did it in the first place. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. I'ma tell you, yeah. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. It's a lot of things you ain't learned, babe. Got me lost in life, and me urge, babe. Look up in the sky, see me so praise. But all these damn birds having bird brains. All this motherfucking stress make my nerves ache. Hurt people, so we hurt things. Don't fuck around with me, cause I murk things. You gon' lay in the veggie made with a dirt frame. Stars of water, all I do is surf waves. Girl gon' give me head like a nerd game. Like it's my flight day, not my birthday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. I'ma tell you now what you're worth, babe. Let's do it how we did it in the first place. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday. I'ma tell you, yeah. Got me feeling good like it's Thursday.
Let me be a walking version of a vibe. That's it. Oh, I said, let me be a meme of how to feel throughout a day. A lot of y'all just get out the halfway house. A lot of y'all just got divorced. A lot of y'all just went broke. A lot of y'all bills is late. A lot of y'all late on child support. Put this in a frame right there. Like, the mood I wish I grew up to be. The mood I grew up to be. Further than that. Get your personality together. Get your Hey, look, check this out. We're going to break some disclaimers down. Now, we're going to get into the psyche. The psyche. Like deep. It's going to lead the brain. It's going to go to the heart. It's going to lead the heart. It's going to go to the them organs that a lot of y'all should have been stopped using a long time ago. You bring too many mental asylum institutional babies on her. Oh, and don't fall too far from the tree. I believe in neuterizations and stuff like that. I believe in neuterizations. Whatever that word is, I believe in neuterization. No, that. I believe in neuterizations. I believe, what do they call that little doggy getting neutered? Let's go a little bit beyond doggies. Let's go a little bit beyond monkeys. There's a lot of humans right there. Your parents should have been neutered. The psyche. Real psychological. Put in simple terms. If you from the hood, you gonna be able to get it. You know what I'm saying? You gonna know if you the one on the side of being mentally ill and retarded or something like that, and you wish you was Selena's manager, or you on the other side of, goddamn it, I got my own problem and bills. This person is just a smack monkey I'm entertained by on my day off. When I'm getting ready to have a drink. Before I watch the game. When I'm with my family and friends. You know what I'm saying? Like something like, because we gotta really compartmentalize what's going on in today's time so we don't get lost. Something pop culture created. Pop culture is pilgrim culture. Oh, I'm saying. We changed a lot of words around over the times that still play out as the same characteristics and the energies and stuff like that. But we ain't gonna go to detail. We love everybody. We just don't love hateful people. Only hateful people. If you in a space of harassment or you a stalker, you a hateful person. It's something that you hate about yourself. We ain't even gonna break that down. That's the obvious of the psychology. You know what I'm saying? We already know we got institutions that people could take Benadryl medication for stuff. That's well structured and especially formulated through things in history. We got enough history and results to let us know, okay, we got mental asylums. You know what I'm saying? It's just the psyche don't be put in other areas that other intelligent people from the hood and the suburbs coming up because of other type of things and going on to throw you off from you taking your intelligence into these programs that we're calling institutions and update it because everybody can't see the common problem the common average individual and quote unquote American be going through. So yeah, we have certain things and certain books based upon what we already experienced, but there's always new people being born, and there's always people going through that's already born, new circumstances and situations that may change their thought form about what they're in, and what they're in could still be utilized as a stereotype, knowing that this individual is using things as far to justify any behavior, positive or negative. But it's going to be based off of their necessities and their survival, and the meanings and reasonings behind whatever we are externally getting lost in. And a lot of these things on a larger percentage scale is becoming outdated. So it's becoming more obvious who's playing one hand and who's playing the other, which is just going to be a broad scale also. So we could generalize this thing and see what's actually going on. And why is this a mental illness? And not being considered as mental illnesses in these other pockets that I'm a master orator. Individuals that's young, such as myself, that came up and grew up, get ready to be old and things of that nature online, and many after me, supposed to be able to look at as feeling like I'm inspired to participate with that because people don't know the mental illness from whatever my background or whatever my street or whatever my hood or Grape Street all the way to goddamn Taft Projects in New York, goddamn city, all the way to Georgia Peach in Atlanta or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? And if these things is left not tapped into, you have a whole bunch, larger on a percentage scale, especially when it comes to young individuals, sporadic. You see what I'm saying? And not actually knowing how to conduct themselves. So for the most part, this is going to have everybody understand from a perspective of which you may be lost in because you lack family or culture. And for the most part, be participating, which ain't nothing wrong, at the institution could teach you good math, teach you good legal qualities, teach you good health practices, teach appoint you to a good job. Now, anytime these institutions is being utilized for anything other than those purposes, but they're practicing the same building, here's where we have to learn how to separate, even for ourselves and things of that nature. So you may be an upper covered individual and you in hopes to go to college or whatever the case may be, and you know what classes to take and what classes don't necessarily serve your purpose that will allow you to be an individual that's lost in a circus within your mind and actually start to justify things that really don't exist in this world that's highly based on other involvement for it to even be a thing. So that's what we're going to break this. We're about 12 minutes in. You know what I'm saying? Because we got to break this down clearly. It's a psychological illness that's being expressed in a form of it not being a psychological or mental illness due to the fact of capitalism and the platforms that have been presented to make these things, but the effects that come from these things seem normal. For an example, the institution to make someone a star, but the way that it get used at times to attract others, you get a few rotten apples out of that bunch. And then for the most part, they're lost in a negative aspect of whatever that they think they're doing based upon what was created by an Americanized institution, right? Because no one should even be in no super fanned out and concept anyway if this don't come from a root. So before we start to generalize and think everybody think American, no, everybody don't. And these things could only be exercised on platforms or things that got broadcast. It's not reality. And if we blur the lines too much because we have online now and we have people regular social media pages, but these things still being exercised in this fashion, it's going to become a line being drawn on what's actually going on when it comes into reality and what may be GMO and things of that nature when it comes into how we live our day-to-day lives and our social norms that we agree on. So let's go into the matrix where it ain't no rabbit hole. And there's no such thing as whistleblowing if something actually happening to you. And then when you're teaching and you know how to generalize things, it can be an aspect that everybody understands for themselves. So for the most part, you are the more intelligent spirit and you know how to attack circumstances and situations the way God see fit. Now, for the most part, when it comes into Americanized institutions creating what we're so-calling harassment qualities. Now, the average individual will be like, this doesn't make sense. What does this have to do with American culture? Why? This ain't just crazy people who are lost and fanatics or however the case may be, right? I know everybody have witnessed that case on the news where, you know, take everything with a grain of salt when it comes to information that you're receiving that's through the lens and filtering system of being broadcast. But for what it's worth, I know everybody have heard or seen the story about Rihanna and ASAP Rocky or whatever the case may be, and the so-called harassment charges that so-called we in a new age and some old world tactic that doesn't necessarily make sense. But for the most part, everybody actually seen that. So I'm going to describe and break down the psychology behind the individual that's in that position. But also, we're all adults, so we also have to make sense out of a situation too, which is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? You just have to know how to separate what's being broadcasted and what's on platforms based upon who fund those broadcasting. And for the most part, you in regular life. You know what I'm saying? And you in real life and knowing how things actually take place or knowing how things actually supposed to be if it happened from a genuine perspective or a starting point or a circumstance or situation. So for the most part, now, what does America institutions have to do with this? Pop culture. Pop culture goes beyond music. It goes beyond, you know, when something is capitalized and put into a generalized box to fit people or forced to put people in a box based upon whatever needs to be constructed around that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's a ideology, maybe it's a religion, maybe it's a law, or whatever the case. Maybe it's somebody to vote for. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's something to be sold. Maybe it's a product. However the case may be, right? But you know, this is nothing new. Okay. Now, for the most part, first of all, before we even break anything down, you know what I'm saying? By us being on social media and these energies still being a thing, right? Really, really not. First of all, we have to stop, or who's ever in charge of these things on a percentage scale that I'm getting ready to break down has to stop trying to make citizens, as we're online, these are people's social media pages. Like, you'll get on somebody's regular in your life, anything, Snapchat, the Facebook, or whatever the case may be, and things of that nature, and these things are foreign. So you have to understand percentage scale. So when we get into these things being practiced, stop trying to make citizens think this is a normal thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, before we get in anything, but we're going to break down the psychology of a mentally ill individual, but we just need to make disclaimers. On a scale of 1 to 10, about 7.5 to 8 times out of 10, the actual harasser or the stalker were paid to do that. It's only like 2% of the time it's a real stalker or harasser. And based on the times we are in now, everyone too broke to actually be motivated to stalk or harass. So in actuality, people only doing things in today's time for money. So that's the ground root of it. So for the most part, if you're getting harassed, you need to know that's somebody's job, not somebody harassing out of their own volition. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as a stalker who got to go pay for gas. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's COINTELPRO, period. And anytime you ever heard a story about that, 9 times out of 10, we can take it a little further than 8 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, it was from a news program. So you didn't hear about these actual things in actual people circle and family and friends and things of that nature, unless it happened to you personally, and then you know the actual genuine circumstance it take for that to be something personal. Other than that, if it's broadcaster or it's news or whatever, you have to take it with a grain of salt. So let's get that first out the way, right? America, for the first and foremost, is lost in Walt Disney. What do that mean? Generalizing narrative and mental beliefs beyond real life. Then anytime there's a breaking down of a mental belief, America is forced to come back to reality and then don't know what to do when a certain mental belief don't work anymore. And America been going through that for the past 400 years. You know what I'm saying? America has a weird mental illness that no other country actually participates with. So we have to understand that too. This is why a lot of times, let's say if you like an orator, but for stupid causes, like things that got something to do with America and everybody needing to come together. This is why if you go to another country, they ban your stupid ass. You know what I'm saying? You might be thinking like, oh, they just don't like Americans. No, it ain't got nothing to do with America. What you're getting ready to do there don't exist in other countries. They don't have cultural issues based off it being a melting pot and certain other ethnic groups wanting to create a generalized concept and kind of willing to force it and fund it to be forced on other individuals. So it become issues that pour over in other areas where you think you need to go somewhere and speak for everybody to come together for those causes. China don't have those issues. Russia don't have those issues. England don't have those issues, or whatever the case may be. So when you go to those countries, there's really no platform or no stage that people care about to make for you to be on stage talking about that. So that be one of the reasons why it don't be many jobs, or you seem like you're getting banned, and the only reason you got banned is because whatever institution you are part of is who paid you, and they already know what you're filtered through, and they don't want that. It's not you personally, it's the system you just got who just paid you to come and do that. You know what I'm saying? Because they know you're just getting footage for America. So you're like an American spy. You're not necessarily talking about no actual problems and then that they have, and then the problems that they have is not the problems Americans have. So that's the actual common sense. If you're an adult and if you're a person and that's your job, you know that's it. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Because we all adults. We can't be crowding the space of adults online and then try to make things work as if people got a job and they're paid to go with things. That don't make any sense. All right, but look, check this out. New word of the day: pseudo-imaginary. What is a pseudo-imaginary? This is new word of the day. Pseudo-imaginary, right? Pseudo-imaginary, where one believes they think another believes something without having a proper meaning and reasoning behind the belief. What is I'm saying, right? For an example, if you come across a Christian, you may assume certain things about the person based on the scripture or your own understanding, but what you don't understand is the meaning and reasoning behind what made that person come to that conclusion and decision in the first place. For an example, right? You got a Christian who probably just got out of jail, and you got a Christian that probably just got a mean church congregation or whatever the case may be. So for the most part, you just watch it from a distance, can't tell who is who from a distance. So they're walking in a character. Two individuals talk about they're Christian, right? But one individual became a Christian because they wanted to stop killing and stay out of jail. One is a Christian because whatever that they think that they was getting as far as monetary gain, and they think that their position in life is what God blessed them to be, or whatever the case may be. You're justifying things from a distance based upon where they're both Christians, so they believe some walk on water. And let's say you are an individual that you are a robber and a thief. Then you pick the wrong individual that day based upon generalizing the wrong optics. Oh, I'm in a Christian church parking lot, so I know all these people here is something I can play with, and I ain't got to play with something safe. And then you lost the meaning or reasoning of what made that person a Christian in the first place. So you're lost in something already external, failing to realize everybody ground basis of what makes them do is something that got something to do with their survival, their circumstance, their family, or their mental condition. And the external representation comes second. And when we start to generalize that too much, here's where we always come up with faulty debunking qualities when it comes into not putting all the eggs in a basket of things like stereotyping or racial profiling or whatever like that, because you're always going to get a egg that you didn't see, a fruit in a basket that you didn't see. You're always going to get some unpredictability of the basket of predictability that you thought you put it in, or whatever the case may be. So we have to be careful of those tactics or all fronts. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you paid a lot of money and you're into these type of things, like if you're an industry agent, or even if you're in the military or something like that. These are things you have to be aware of, because when you lack intelligence, you perish, and things of that nature. Generalizing something that someone may have did 100 years before you, and you just got the book and you took whatever you're doing now as a job, and then you're not knowing that there's different angles, because different angles, different people, everybody not the same, just because of the what. The what is what we do. The how is a whole different concept. You see what I'm saying? And that's always first. So a person is always going to be in their energy first before they externalize any representation. So we have to treat that with a grain of salt when it comes to generalizing what we're experiencing a person is expressing on an external level. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you could be a thief and a robber, and you in a Christian church, and just because it worked a couple weeks before, that person who just popped up there just got out of jail. They're a Christian for some different reasons that these other ones that may be for the reasons that don't allow them to be a little violent. You know what I'm saying? You go ahead and put all your eggs in that basket, and then you just ran into trying to rob somebody in that church parking lot that actually just got out the halfway house, or whatever the case may be. So you have to be careful on generalizing based upon the external representation that a person is expressing themselves on. So this is just an example of pseudo-imaginary. It's a pseudo-imaginary, right? So so what you have to understand is, when a person, a belief in their life, ultimately that will always be the thing that's internal first. See what I'm saying? Something that makes that person act a certain way, which is why we create the word unpredictable, right? Which is just the action of having that presupposition not being applicable to the situation at hand, aka you thought something was predictable and acted on it at the time it didn't do the predictability. See what I'm saying? So it's just an action. We get lost into, well, at least on American soil, y'all get lost in mental beliefs. So y'all over exaggerate something we're naturally doing. Y'all over exaggerate something we're already doing. And when you leave the simplicity of it, you go deep first, then you miss what you're actually doing. And then you get in certain pockets, and certain pockets could be used for capitalism. Certain pockets could be used for protecting one's ego. Certain pockets could be used for lying and manipulating others. But all of these is separating from what you're actually doing and coming up with in your mind what you want to believe what you're doing, because you're more lost on a percentage scale of the bias you can get out of it, or something that suits you to get out of it. So you put more effort in convincing others that idea, or trying to find others who got the same problem as you to link up with. You know what I'm saying? That become more what you use your mind intelligence of. And if you get over on others, you come up with what you came up with in your mind, and those actions that you did was the right course to do it. Still failing to realize just what you're actually doing. You just came up with a better way of reading something that possibly could be unpredictable. And all those times something that you predicted was predictable and you had your way, you built a comfort zone in that area. But it doesn't go any further than that from a psychological perspective. Y'all get lost in y'all meanings and reasons to what y'all think y'all doing things for, and automatically think other people is in that same type of mind state, especially when it comes to the forced theologies that America be trying to dump on people, and this being a melting pot. This is one of the main issues America been having since day one, when they started to make America over here, and the Americans and the settlers, and then start using other ethnic groups to act out this mental illness. You see what I'm saying? So we get into the core seed. We get into the core seed because it ain't no psychologist that y'all could pay for right now to even help a person that's in harassing energy. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? But yet we got all the qualities that create harassers. You know what I'm saying? All these institutions that create butthurt priests and people who play with little kids, booty holes and stuff like that. But we're not funding institutions for people with these issues. We're not funding institutions for victims of these people with these mental issues. You know what I'm saying? Something's wrong here. You know what I'm saying? But that's another way how, if you an actual adult, you could separate from who's getting paid for something and it's something being genuine too. Because we have to get to the motivations, the motive, what motivate an individual to do something. And once you clear that up and things of that nature, it's really nothing a person could stand on. It only could be two routes, two sides of the universe. You're either doing it for causes that the external white magic or black magic, aka the faulty actions you showing, ain't the real reason into why you doing it, and the reasons behind it does make sense. The sense it make just might be on the opposite end of what's going in someone else's favor. Or you actually a person that's flunked out, and that's very small on a percentage scale when it comes into everybody being broke. So you got to understand that too. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes into this presupposition, anytime you try to predict something and then it becomes unpredictable, then for the most part, these are the only things that you're looking at, and what y'all getting lost into all these other energies, thinking that y'all doing something else, but y'all don't. So, and this is how people play themselves in certain situations also. So you got to be careful. Now, all of this from an emotional state, all of this comes from being frustrated and worried about something in life you can't change. And stalking and harassment just so happens to become the first degenerate human actions to combat this in their lost mind. Now sit and think about that for a second. Some people, even you people that's paid to do it, think about it. Whoever pays you to do it is because it's something they can't change, so they're using you, paying you to go change it. Think about a fanatic, something they can't change about their life, so they think stalking or harassing or doing something about the person that's affecting them or whatever the case may be, these are just the first tactics of a human being lost. So if you think about that in its actual state, I don't want people who even getting paid getting so lost into the mental concepts American gave you, them old colonists, into making you believe some false pride of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So in one breath, you're getting paid just to do something to a stranger, but in another breath, you would claim, it's because this belief and how people think, and if we don't stop people think, no, you're just getting lost, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And if another lost person ain't give you that job in the first place, you wouldn't be in no creation of what we call institutionalizing energy, or being colonized in the brain. That's the creation of why we came up with those words. You are that type of person. That's a coon. You know what I'm saying? So we can't get away from the obvious. We all adults. So, like I said, now all this comes from being frustrated and worried about something in life you can't change, and stalking and harassing just so happens to become the first degenerate human actions to combat this in their lost mind. And since settlers were in this energy, this becomes a trait people pick up growing up. Think about it. Who grew you up? It wasn't really your culture or whatever the case may be. You went to elementary. So for an example, right? Let's say a person in their culture make a book about riding a bike. Then another person in their culture make a book about riding a bike. It's going to come with mental traits that ain't got nothing to do with the bike that made them feel like, oh, this is why I came, this is why I wanted to make a bike, or this would help me ride the bike better, this thought for them, or whatever the case may be, right? So what am I explaining? I'm trying to separate people from the what and the how. We could all be doing a what, making a book about a bike, but the how it's always going to help people decipher the difference and what something is actually coming from. So for the most part, we all can make an ability with our cultures to make a school or whatever like that. That's the what. But the how something is being taught come with traits. And it comes with a person making certain decisions of what worked for them and what didn't work for them. And then when you could start to counterpartmentalize that, and let's say you're part of an ethnic group uh, um, or race or whatever the case may be, you'll be able to see what ones is against you, what works against you, even if it's not personally against you, and what's for you, or what's an asset based upon your expertise and what your ethnic background come with and how it can be applied or whatever the case may be, right? So this is how an intelligent person is supposed to look at things before making a judgment of whatever that you are experiencing. So keep that in mind also. But when you understand it from that aspect, since y'all not going to your people's schools or whatever the case may be, this comes with certain traits and other areas in your life you may be unrenowned to that start to play out, that ultimately, you know, start to become things like being a harasser or whatever the case. So, like I said, right, these schools that y'all growing up in and institutions and things of that nature is actually being funded by rich descendants of American colonists of the 1700s. You see what I'm saying? So there are actually classes and institutions, right, that teach colleges how to protest. There's actually funding towards things that teach people how to start riots and stuff like that. So you have to understand and create harassment missions on others based off mental, moral, or religious concepts that doesn't even make sense to other ethnic groups and countries or continents in general. So if you know you go to a school and you know your family or culture or ethnic group ain't funding that school, and you see these type of practices being practiced in that school, okay, that tell you it's more of that family and that ethnic group, and this is their starting point, and that come from root causes that don't have nothing to do with the school. It's how they're grounding their moral state. It's how they're grounding their mental state, and that's what you need to be thinking about more before start to participate in whatever that you are experiencing. Now, like I said, so y'all think like the people who taught y'all and who taught y'all these moral systems. And here's the thing, these moral systems get in the way of you and your actual family and your friends, which are how negative cults are created when you're going amongst people who ain't your family and friends and coming up with some generalized aspect about life that y'all all gonna agree on or whatever the case may be. And it only bends into actually meant a bunch of people. Like these cults is created for things only a bunch of people with mental illnesses can decide on. So we have to understand that too. We have to be adults here. If you in a cult, you have to really think about what you in a cult for. We not even in 2016 anymore. We in a new world, right? You're in a cult based on things nobody practiced. You know what I'm saying? Once upon a time, KKK was a cult. No one practicing Christianity. Once upon a time, you see what I'm saying? It's like a cult for no reason in today's time. You see what I'm saying? That's basically what's going on. Like, if you in a cult, but for what? What business is it? Or what? You know what I'm saying? So you're purely in a cult off your emotional state. That's a mental illness. Even if you're a person that just want to be a part of something, it's still a mental illness. You know what I'm saying? You might just want to be a part of something that ain't violent. But the cult has a narrative around it. Hey, everybody going through this problem, come here. If you ain't got no family and friends, you're already in some mental state of not having nothing to help you around yourself, so you're already lost. So even if you're going to something that's positive, you still need to understand you have a mental illness you don't know how to sufficientify for yourself or whatever the case may be, period. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing around it. I know America be trying to make these things seem like they're normal, but it's really because the American colonists that fund all these institutions was purely mentally ill. There ain't no excuse. You know what I'm saying? So we can act like everybody in the world think like this already. And then people who think they're intelligent at reacting to these things or taking care of these things or creating laws around these things, you have to understand the world itself is retarded. You're creating laws around retarded things and you just think you're intelligent because of how you're looking at a retarded thing in general. You're still retarded too, though. You have to understand that. Like, I don't know why people don't understand that. Like, people in America especially like in CIA and stuff, like they think they're intelligent towards retarded stuff already. For an example, let's say you're doing you're in the CIA and you're doing an espionage on a celebrity, right? And so you're going to come up with intelligent stuff, right? But it's dumb in general because the system and the government made up the platform of what it looks like and what it means to be a celebrity. So without that industry, the psyop don't exist. What are you actually psyoping at that point? See what I'm saying? So it's really like just a whole bunch of things that was businesses that start to fail, and over time and centuries, other ways of making sure that business stay here have been practiced, and these other ways have been got lost in narrative, propaganda, and stuff like that. But it's not even an actual thing. You see what I'm saying? That's another issue with America. America is like so outdated. It's bad for business in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be careful. So, like I said, a lot of these things is only based off what a bunch of mental illness people have to agree on anyway, based off something being there that was created from mental illness. You know what I'm saying? For an example, let's say you are a celebrity court fighter or whatever the case may be, and you somewhere coming up with a psychology about, yeah, celebrities have stalkers or whatever the case may be, and you getting big in that world, but it's dumb in general because your job was created, right? You're lost in the illusion of it's normal for people to be fanatics over celebrities. That's an American thing. And that only happened because business working. Then when narratives have to happen, it's because a business stopped working, and this is another angle. And then when actions start to play out that look totally different from the main goal, this is where y'all start getting lost in what we are calling persuasions and stuff, or whatever the case, and being far from what's actually going on, but it's happening in front of you. You see what I'm saying? So you have to be intelligent. But first of all, being Americanized early set you up to not have your own thing with your own people going on. You know what I'm saying? Let me repeat. First of all, being Americanized early set you up to. Now we can see this play out in many things. Some people, y'all may have family members, friends, associates, co-workers do something and some Americanized thing. Then they come back to y'all and start to look down on y'all. Some of y'all, they crash out. And then they need y'all help. Some of y'all, some of them do, but a lot of these things is always going to be a form of separating from their actual reality and creating a false reality. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that too. First of all, being Americanized early sets you up not to have your own thing with your own people going on, to absorb into a stranger to the point of harassment in the first place. So the whole concept of being absorbed in a stranger to the point of harassment automatically means you have nothing going on. And that don't come from nothing else but elementary school in America or college in America. Nothing else. Anything else in anybody else's culture is straight entertainment. You can ask the Latino community. Bad Bobby is entertainment. He's not gonna motivate nobody for no vote. No matter how much the industry pay him to be up there, he's not gonna motivate nobody to clean up their own house. No matter how much he make about a house song cleaning up, he's there for entertainment. And anytime any artist or celebrity start to get used for anything other than that, that's when their careers start to go down. And then the industry somehow think they need to do more propagandas and type of stuff like that. So they just fully crash out and then have to replace that person, but take that same type of quality and give it to somebody refreshing and new until they crash that person out. That's why it's a real sentiment of anytime the industry attach themselves to something, it becomes watered down because the whole aspect about it is like lost. You see what I'm saying? Now, so first of all, being Americanized early set you up not to have your own thing or with your own people going on to be just to even be absorbed into a stranger to the point of harassment in the first place. Like when your family having a ceremony or something like that, when do you have time to be lost in Michael Jackson? And then we got online right now, people who not even celebrities and got no industry connection or whatsoever. Then we have these things being practiced. So here's what tips the scale on a percentage scale of it not even being genuine and it just being cointel. You see what I'm saying? And you have to be careful of that because that actually crashes out y'all ability to do these things when it's actually necessary. But here's the thing, right? So when it comes into, there's only two reasons when we think about this. So first of all, being Americanized early sets you up to not have your own thing with your own people going on, to be absorbed, to even be absorbed in a stranger, to the point of harassment in the first place, which could only lead to two reasons for this issue, right? It can only lead to two reasons for this issue, right? A person is being paid by the CIA to do it, or other institutions, or a person is lost into the American institutions created for people to be consumers of pop culture. But the propaganda created around the celebrity to attract consumers come with systemic issues when it comes into the mentally ill with no family or no culture. So going to be two routes: a person being paid, or the institution that the America created for a person that's doing this genuine, but it's small pockets. It's not no big thing, like, you know what I'm saying? It has to be a person that's detached from their family, because a person with family have responsibilities, and those responsibilities is not going to have a person motivated enough to be harassing someone, you know what I'm saying? And the harassment level, if it is probably based off as far as love, not no violence or whatever the case may be. And then I only go so far, or whatever the case. So we have to be real, because we are adults. We can't get lost online and start doing stupid stuff and think people not adults. That don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where y'all starting y'all common sense levels at to make up what y'all think is intelligent or not. It's really not. This tells me a lot of institutions need new people. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, that's why it can only be two routes. You see what I'm saying? A person that's paid, or a person with no family or no culture, right? Because who is this person talking to if they're around their friends and family about someone that their family friends is not caring about like them? They become obsessed with theatrics and religious dogmas American colonizers created and built their schools and institutions off of. So that's the only place that feeling even come from. You're not even going to catch nobody in another country harassing people the way y'all talk about in America. And if you get an American news program or a person, automatically got this story now, it's AI, and you know that they watching me, and you know I brought something new in the world for y'all to look at. You should thank me. So I'm the creator. Now look, so look, check it out, right? So the average individual, if they already just lost, they're obsessed with theatrics and religious dogmas American colonizers created to build their school, and they built their schools and institutions off of these things. It's literally only a pilgrim pop culture American thing. So it's only a American culture. It doesn't have anything to do with anyone else or their culture, even within America. So whether you're paid by the concepts via institutions, or you're a lost individual, you are an adult, and you need to understand these concepts are purely created by Americans, and they're degenerate concepts, and the average person or ethnic group is not lost. This concept is based on being busy with other things in life, like the average individual. For an example, y'all remember when that Selena thing happened? It's larger percentage scale of people in the world questioning what was Homegirl's problem, other than what we seen and the propaganda around it, and then how you can see certain other movies being made. Hey, this is a possibility. Then some other calling this director make it be like, hey, getting they lost in degenerate mind and be like, hey, what if it happened like this way? We're gonna put AI in a Chucky doll. You know what I'm saying? But we're just seeing people express their degenerate thoughts, basically. But on a large scale, it's more percentage scale of people in the world that just look at it as stupid. Even the people that's involved in making narratives in their world, no matter the mixed or the ethnic so involved, it's larger percentage scale of the people who know them that's not involved in it, and just look at it like, from a distance, like, okay, that's just what y'all do. You see what I'm saying? You're never going to catch a harasser or a stalker paid for or lost in their own mind around a actual family, and they can actually have conversations and come up with creative spaces to think about stuff with them as is actually important. No one in their real life would think that's important. You know what I'm saying? Only things you're lost in based upon institutions will consider these things important. So you have to understand that too. And the reasons these things were created in the first place, those things and people acting those ways no longer exist. We're not even in those times anymore. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're going to get into a list of how this is a mental illness, and some of these things in a list you probably never seen as a mental illness, and you need to start today, because we're going to break it down where there's no ifs, ands, or buts on how this is a mental illness. All right? And this goes for the person who's genuinely a stalker or harasser, or the person who's paid. It's still a mental illness. You know what I'm saying? The person who's paid just think that they're doing something mentally ill colonizers created, and that's no longer here. But other than that, it still comes from a long line of mental illness and straight-jacket mental asylum record artists and stuff like that. So this peep game. So mental illness traits from a psychological perspective. Now we probably got like good 6 or 7 of these. How many we got of these? We got yeah, we got 7. We got 7 of them. So we're about to break it real down from a psychological perspective. You know what I'm saying? And the average individual can understand this. So, 1, being extremely reactionary negatively because of a stranger. This means you have nothing going on or lost in an Americanized institutional concept, aka these type of things have platforms to receive attention from, which is a dumb Americanized goal in itself. For an example, you can get attention right now talking about someone you're harassing right now, no matter the percentage scale. You might think you're monetized constantly talking about a celebrity. That's a little small on a percentage scale. You might think it's harmless, but American institutions, this is the way that they think. So you got like a hand-me-down, watered-down version of it where it looked like it's a social norm, but for the most part, this helps you understand the degenerate concept people are in that's in these positions of funding these things for you to even think it's normal. So for you to go to college and to learn how to conduct a protest, whoever funded and family funded that college and was in the mind state to consider that's the right thing to do and what's the wrong things to do or whatever the case may be, these things have to be put up for conversations or whatever. Because then we'll start to see how Harvard is only Harvard because of the replacement of the Native Americans over there, or in other institutions like Yale or whatever. So you'll start to see how a lot of practices is based off things that don't even exist. And y'all may be experiencing limbos on signing up for these things and it not being a platform for these things to be applicable, because it's not even a thing for these things. It's almost like, let's say bread don't exist and you go get a bread factory job, but no one's buying bread. So it's like you got a bread job for no reason. And let's say you're trying to broadcast and pay for a lot of commercials, you wasting money. People not interested, or people don't make bread no more. So you just out here being Swabo or Wonder Bread, just being lost in an old and outdated world in a new shift. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. And it's not enough people catching up in the mind right now, so they're not seeing other angles of the thing that they're lost in based upon the history and where it may have worked, but where it was applicable, where it's no longer now. You see what I'm saying? So becoming extremely reactionary negatively because of a stranger, this means you have nothing going on or lost in an Americanized institution, aka these types of things have platforms to receive attention from, which is a dumb Americanized goal in itself, or you're getting paid to do it via not having the ability to pick a career goal in your life via already being detached from close ones or people with common sense in your life. You see what I'm saying? So it can only be 2 ways. If you already lost, or whatever the case may be, then it's either you are lost in a platform that these institutions that was already lost funded, so you think it's a normal thing, right? All the way to the point that you're reacting to pop culture and anybody who has a thought form that America have capitalized and generalized, and you think this person is filtered through that because you're more lost into it. You're willing to harm them or whatever, or play police games, or however the case it may be, or whatever. You need to know that you're just lost. You have nothing going on, because who is the people around you that you can talk to that will have your mind in a different direction to come up with your intelligence? You can't be, it's impossible to be around people. And then if you're paid to do it, or whatever the case may be, it's still the same situation. You're just a mentally ill, or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? because like you're basically the type of person who couldn't pick a better career goal. Like you have problems picking a career goal. So you probably already had problems with your actual family, or even you probably got family that do those things too. But y'all lack in so many things that other humans feel more fruitful about. These degenerate programs that other degenerates, you go with your kind. That's your soul group, basically. You know what I'm saying? Degenerate. So you might think what you're doing for good causes, but in all actuality, you just somebody who don't mind your business and you need a job. Now, two, right? Two, over exaggerating and overestimating what you think a stranger, celeb got going on based on what the celebrity or person of interest, if they're not a celebrity, but you're a stalker of theirs or harasser of theirs, right? You overestimate or over exaggerate what they have going on based upon what the person of interest or the celebrity shows or express to the public. The harasser doesn't give the grace of just as much as you think you're anonymous, the celebrity or person of interest also has people and things that's anonymous to the public in their life. For example, the harasser or stalker never imagines someone stalking them or their family because they're institutionalized, right? And their position in life calls for them only to be on the side of the consumer or person that's being influenced to do an extreme reactionary action to the degree based off imaginary thoughts, concepts created by American religion and American settlers. So we have to understand that too, and things of that nature, right? Like the person that's actually harassing or whatever like that. Okay, you're born in a world just like everybody else, a dick and a pussy. So you have an uncle, you have an auntie or whatever, but you're so lost into what the colonizer mental illness settlers have created and things, you're lost into your life position of you not being a celebrity or someone that pop culture got you so lost in. So that person of interest is just the person that you want to go ahead and play that dichotomy game with and do some harm energy or goofy energy or whatever the case may be or whatever. But what you have to understand is that that's just y'all. That's a small thing. That's not like no. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't get where y'all. It's a small thing. It ain't no large circumstance in reality. You know what I'm saying it's just based off you being lost in what America created, and you think that for some reason that since a celebrity is whatever Walt Disney taught you it is, and you just a regular person or whatever the case may be, your life like you ain't got parents or something like that, or you ain't got family or whatever like that's the lostness that this American institutions be creating and don't realize how dumb it is in some way, shape, or form, and how easy it is to decipher and debunk when these circumstances is being broadcasted on news networks and stuff like that too much, right? So only then that the main thing these individuals are lost in real life is not being busy enough with something personal to your own growth. And external people, places, and things became what you live for. Without these things only being without these things only being the things that inspire or create your goals or whatever the case may be, right? This is makes you lost when you in some type of situation of you don't have no internal energy. Like you're supposed to have external things supposed to be only the things that inspire you to do the things that you do creatively that you want to present to the world. The moment, you see what I'm saying? The that's when you not lost, right? You have to keep that in mind. That's when you not lost. Not being lost in the external as only the source of entertaining or knowing oneself and knowing what one's supposed to be doing with themselves that really don't involve others in totality. So when you're only entertained by external things because you don't have nothing that you're actually doing and that become the thing that you do, that's something you're drinking from. You're a degenerate in general. You see what I'm saying? So that only come from this, and I don't want people to get confused like harassment or whatever like that. The only time these things are genuine, a female is getting harassed because she just broke up with a guy. You know what I'm saying? Someone actually did something to someone in the hood or suburbs that caused for that. When these things become generalized and not personal, the generalized become performative on acting how personal it is. But that kind of performative energy is always going to be higher on the percentage scale. So keep that in mind too. This is how you're able to decipher something coming from American institutions and something that is somebody out of their mind, which both still are out of their mind. Let's not get that. This one don't think they're out of their mind because they institutionalized. So 3, the confusion that American institutions think that everyone else is slow or have a mental illness. For some reason, Americans think they're not a small percentage when it comes to harassment and stalkers. And they tend to think people can't see when there's militia games being played by COINTELPRO and cosplayers that infiltrate and act like harassers and stalkers as a cover-up for an actual mission, information, whatever, right? Which this concept only works if American creates pop culture and the institutions on platforms set up specifically for consumers and how their mind is confused based off propaganda. So when a militia mission is done, in all actuality, the CIA is hoping and betting on the celebrity or person of interest to think this way already. Like it's normal when it comes to the people just being crazy and fanatic. But if you're around your family and culture or in the hood, you know better. Just based off real life interactions and relationships are built. Just based off real reactions and relationships are built, like we know better. You see what I'm saying? So I don't get it. Then you get some Americanized person lost in pop culture, institutionalized mind, or fed way of acting, trying to infiltrate, and it looked weird from the jump because there is no locational, cultural, ethnic, or race starting point connection. So if anything start looking non-genuine, it sticks out like poison ivy. So that's another mental illness. 4, the harasser or stalker actually thinking they have someone on their side when yeah, think about that for a second. You have somebody online right now, like the Rihanna chick, which that's COINTELPRO. But the chick that did quote unquote, because a lot of this stuff be AI too. Like y'all never find these people in real. Just like the Dave dude and the homegirl they found in a trunk. You will never see him in real life. You will never see her in real. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, like you'll never see his family. Nobody connected to that dude in real life. But for the most part, here's the thing, right? When it comes into these weird institutions that's being weirdos and in their mind, they don't think they have a mental illness because it's colonist energy, right? The harasser, the harasser or stalker actually thinking that they have someone on their side. So for homegirl to even have a social media page and to sit up here and talk about Rihanna as if her family wouldn't even be on her side, people who watching not even gonna be on her side, it's pointless. We're in a new shift. That don't look nothing else but COINTELPRO. No one and everybody broke in real life. We all adults. That's first and foremost. But if we want to make up in our mind that she's really doing that or whatever the case may be, then this will be for that. But we're not even in. Don't nobody give a fuck about no celebrities, let alone a YouTuber. So any of these things being practiced has the average person, the average American, the average citizen have no choice but to start looking at COINTELPRO. Like you can't go nowhere else on that. Let me take my glasses off for this. I live in the hood, right? I live in the hood. Who's ever stereotyping criminals? Do you know that they have common sense? Do you know that they even don't do crimes and they consider there's cameras everywhere? So the average criminal that would do somebody dirty is looking at stories like harassment, stupid, or no person in real life does the things y'all institution or CIA is trying to practice online in this new shift. I need y'all to understand that. Y'all will create a story about someone this. Why ain't nobody protesting? Stop losing money. I'm trying to help y'all be adults. Like, we in a new shift. Grow up. Fund your money on something else. You have to make sense out of the times we in right now. Like, this is not even a point explaining that. Like, people should have common sense in your own life before, like, it's weird. It's weird. Well, look, check it out. This what makes business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics completely crash out as soon as they start doing online tactics. You're crashing out. And it's why a lot of celebrities, and even rappers and stuff like that, having to go back to the drawing board, like chilling out a little bit or whatever, like really not knowing what's going on. My page really like the only good grounding, intelligent information, but from someone from your background that you can really get, or you listening to someone who part of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. Real talk. Now, peep game. Now, like I said, the harasser or stalker actually be thinking they have someone on their side when they're explaining themselves. No one is on a stalker side. So if there's any story being put out and there's a stalker as the campaigner, as the auditioner, as the performative individual at the moment, right? You have to pay attention to who's telling a story about this person, regardless of the little sync parts that they put in when this person is speaking, right? Because it shows their belief or whatever. And once a person start talking like, yeah, this is a crazy thing and this is normal things that happen or whatever the case, man, that's institution. Because in real life, people in the institution, y'all don't be around y'all family and friends enough to know real psychology that ain't even called psychology. When something actually happens and there's an actual cause and effect, there's certain mannerisms, certain thought processes, certain reactions you can't get from no other concept. You can't make it up. You can't engineer it. You can't craft it. You're just gonna make something like it. How y'all be trying to be like God, something like it. Or a lot of you virtual signal rappers be trying to be like rappers, something like it. But it's not it. Sorry, Chief, it's not it. No matter how much you try to fund it and say, well, another person did it. You know what I'm saying? That's how y'all think Robert Greene book is important. I heard somebody say the 48 Laws of Power Robert Greene book is banned in jails. Why? It's trash. You won't get nowhere acting out those tactics. And everything is a day-to-day thing. And you just have to be an intelligent person. And once you do something, someone like Robert Greene, just like the position Robert Greene is in, and admired by people, will write about you, failed to any of the information of the space you was in to come up with these ideas in the first place. They're lost in theatrics. That is a pilgrim pop culture tactic. To be lost in the theatric of what someone else have did, and you feel like you want to write about it. Write about your goddamn self. You see what I'm saying? Like, something wrong with y'all. And y'all so lost on TV, y'all think that's the world. No, it ain't. And y'all exercising stuff online and figuring out real fast. So, peep gang. So in all actuality, the person only could be lost in degenerate mental illness from a small few, or COINTELPRO paid people to be cosplayers from a small few. But this is not actually a thing on a large scale in any country or continent. And it's purely an American thing based off television, religion, and education institutions and militia tactics. So let's say in your mind, you got this kind of like normal thing about, yeah, this it's a thing where celebrities have stalkers or whatever. No, it ain't. And anytime you be seeing it forced, that's someone trying to do something, creating some new militia tactic or whatever the case. That's not normal even in America or whatever. You have to be a person just lost in movies or you're in the industry. Once it get practiced off those things, they crash out every time. And this is how feds be losing cases. Because they're lost in Walt Disney World. It's like Walt Disney. But is this a job and a person get lost and stuff? Like, I guess. But 5, right? Now, besides it being COINTELPRO intentions for the mentally ill, now we're separating from the militia, and for them being mentally ill, why isn't it a form of mental asylums for these people if we have so many previous examples of people who act this way, who act like this on extreme levels, like the Selena case and all throughout history? And where are all the psychological studies and peer-reviewed records from professionals and professors that always want all the fame and stuff like that, like Neil deGrasse's and stuff, that's supposed to back and support these claims so that it should be important enough to fund these programs? Because that would have been their escape route if I didn't bring that up. You know what I'm saying? It would have been, no. It's been enough in history for us to know that there's a lot of cosplayers who think they psychologists that want to be famous, that don't be talking about no issues people have in real life. But this is enough results in history that we know this is an actual issue, and there should be real psychologists, and there should be enough claim that back it for these things to be funded. So, for the most part, where is it? Which leads me to believe that the people who make institutions are fans. They're the mentally ill ones themselves. That's fanned out. Also, and they got the money to just crash out on their fanned out lameness. That most of the time leads to destruction of themselves and others. That's why they teach y'all how to be consumers or fans or capitalists, because that's all they are. They just lost in other people culture, or lost in another people or ethnic group business without having one of their own. So basically trying to colonize other people's business as their own. So that's basically what you is if you a coon right now online. If you an agent, you should be ashamed of yourself if you part of an ethnic group that you know they don't support you like that. You just got lost, went to school or something like that, and think you had a career and you doing that, and you use your money and stuff as bragging rights to your people, but your people don't fuck with you like that. Now, you can't really be having no deep conversations with your people about that, because they'd be getting involved with it with you, or whatever the case may be. So a lot of times, that's basically all what agents is doing and stuff like that, right? You was taught to be like a Mormon. Go put people in a box. Go generalize something and try to get everybody in it. So then you got race bait. You got rage bait or whatever. Like some mentally ill colonists came up with that. Like, you know that, right? Like, you're not doing nothing special. You got a job, but in your mind, you probably lost in all kind of stuff. Like, especially what colonists have presented to y'all with the confusion of all the religions that they mixed over, that it's just a Bible about colonizers taking over people and making them believe that they control the people's belief, and they actually can melt metals and do it. So you might have went to a nigger college like HBCU or something like that. You probably a Hebrew Israelite. You probably like you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just lost. Whatever you think you're doing, this is purely some American stuff. No actual Hebrews. That word is plagiarized so much, though, and with Native American stuff and stuff like. But no one in Palestine think like you do. Like, y'all like foreign. Y'all talking about a whole bunch of foreign gods, foreign concepts. So the foreigners is y'all mental daddies. And that's why you always got some concept of fighting your oppressor concept, like dumb. But y'all don't be knowing what y'all fighting, because you are doing these things. Like, you are the oppressor. You just waiting for a job to be in a better oppressor position. You don't like getting the short end of the stick. You don't like getting the water hose version of it, where you get hit with the water hose of it. Y'all still all coons and agents, though. You know what I'm saying? Y'all love to get these jobs and try to coon y'all people and get everybody in a box. Y'all love to get these jobs and play police games and try to get people locked up or whatever, or send police to people. Like, I don't know what the hell y'all, but like, it's just a concept of you all over the place. Where is your culture? This can't be like, this is why America ain't about nothing right now. Like, because what is that? You just, eventually, you can't do nothing with that but use immigrants to do that. Because an immigrant ain't thinking from that perspective. They just thinking like, I'm coming to America and I'm getting a job. So it's no point for any American in government to be mad at any immigrants when immigrants clearly carry out y'all jobs. Like last time I checked, all the way to Donald Trump grandparents are immigrants. So Trump is an immigrant. So who is from America a part of ICE or in government? Like I don't get it. Like how is y'all got Kamala and all these government people telling y'all, and 90% of y'all is foreigners, about other immigrants, and then y'all mad at immigrants, but everybody who told y'all about that is immigrants. It ain't not one person in ICE that ain't an immigrant. It ain't not one person in government that ain't an immigrant. The New York City mayor is an immigrant, an Arab. What are we even talking about? Like, why are y'all wasting y'all money? Like, I don't get it, because these things take funding. I would never waste my money on narratives that don't even have any ground reality to the times we in. It's dumb. Like, I don't even get it. I would, like, let's say if I was in government, I would have never took a large portion of funding for political propaganda that got something to do with protesting, immigration. These wouldn't even be conversations. We at a whole different time right now. We need another conversation. That's dumb. That's almost like talking about something if we was experiencing in the 1700s, and we damn near know that every corner store you go to is an immigrant corner store. That can't be the conversation for any type of global direction. Just common sense wise. Where in reality, there's obviously a business for it. So why is that even something being used for a narrative, negatively or positively? You see what I'm saying? It's like, it's dumb. Do better with your money. You're lost in beliefs. Your beliefs got people crashing out no matter what level they in, what institution or what regular life you're a part of, on all levels. If homegirl was real about her disgruntled energy towards Rihanna, she's out of her mind, she's in the wrong time. And if it's COINTEL, you're out of your mind, you're in the wrong time to waste money on a propaganda narrative for a whole bunch of fans who ain't even get ready to buy Rihanna's next record. So I don't get what any of y'all do. So you mean to tell me somebody get ready to harass with gas being as high as it is right now? Listen, you ain't fooling nobody. Okay? Lord Jesus Christ, have mercy. Wake these humans up so we can get on some better type of thing going on. Like, we need some better type of mind states to be busy with. But look, 6. Most harassers and stalkers have gotten hurt, went to jail. If they're on the degenerate side, if they're on the part of the COINTEL side, they have blown cases. So this is the number 6 mental illness. It's more harassers and stalkers that have gotten hurt or went to jail or blown cases if they was part of the COINTELPRO than actually harassers and stalkers or COINTELPRO being successful throughout history. So we got to keep that in mind. If you a lost person and you was a stalker or harasser, there's larger on a percentage scale of you getting wiped away and disappearing and non-existent anymore and things of that nature than whatever sometimes the news every now and then broadcasts or whatever the case may be. And as for Fed cases and COINTELPRO or whatever the case may be, which y'all only hear about their successful stuff and like, do you know how many undercover cops that you just now got to watch a whole bunch of movies and Mike Lowry movies and stuff like that about like that come from real things. That means there's larger on a percentage scale of undercover cop or CIA tactics not working, people disappearing, thrown off bridges, all kind of stuff by gang members and drug dealers and all kind of stuff that didn't work to the point you have to figure out how to create what we're calling right now infiltrate and act like someone who's a part of that, because just coming at it straight on head on is gonna crash out. You know what I'm saying? So for the most part, in general, they don't even, you might be lost in movies a lot to even think If these things ain't done on real purposes, it never work anyway. But even when they're done for whatever pop culture created, it's more on a percentage scale that these things fail anyway than be successful. That's why it's such a hype if it is successful. That's why y'all get all these stories about Fed cases and, oh, they win 100% of the time. That's propaganda. You don't hear about everybody fired, all the cricket cops and stuff like that, that so many cases and just people not giving a fuck about whatever some Americanized pride got something to do with. You know how many cops from the hood and suburbs and stuff like that became cricket cops because they start to see the institution like, man, I don't give a fuck about this shit. I'm about to make some money or whatever the case may be. That's more than anything. This little pride, America, a little piece, 1 inch here, 1 inch there, and it's going to be broadcasted like it's something normal. Yeah, get the hell out of here. Ain't nobody dumb. But for the most part, like I said, most harassers and stalkers have gotten hurt or went to jail or blown cases for the COINTELPRO than actually harassers and stalkers or COINTELPRO being successful throughout history. Y'all watch too many movies and news channels crafted with propaganda for y'all to think otherwise. They don't report the failures. They only report the small amounts of times that it was successful. That's why if you do your history and research on it right now, it's going to be 1 in 2020, then the next one way in 2000, then the next one way in 1981, then the next one way in 1963. See what I'm saying? It's just those the times they're most popularizing when it was successful. All the 10 to 15 years of crashing out. For them to even be in a mind state of being like, oh, we got to use drones now. Of course you got to use updated technology and gadget. You suck just mentally as a person. If you was intelligent as a person, a lot of this stuff wouldn't even exist. But for the most part, so remember, it's purely based on American pop culture and your involvement with these things for it to even be a thing. If you're not a part of anything the government got created, it's purely just made up and pseudo-imaginary. For an example, you know how the government went and investigated everybody who was betting, those celebrities who was betting or whatever the case may be. But if an NBA player ain't had no NBA to go to that's set up for the NBA person to make some money, and if it wasn't no such thing as casinos and gambling or whatever the case may be, then what exactly is the psyop then? So you see what I'm saying? This is cricket business. All of this is cricket mafia business. If you with your family and your culture, none of this actually exists. So if you just lost in movies and you Americanized, you actually think this is the world until you go out on your own block and realize you ain't shit and you just lost in movies and stuff and you need to get more creative with your own life. Now, 7, last but not least, 7, right? The mental reasoning of a stalker or harasser can't be expressed around others. So this is the 7th mental illness. The mental reasoning of a stalker or harasser can't be expressed around others, right? The 7th reason also going to allow you to be able to be an adult, to be able to decipher harassment qualities in today's time is purely on the basis of the CIA and COINTELPRO. You're not going to get many cases of an actual person, especially with people trying to make their own content in today's time. When we talk about motive, there ain't no old time motives for that to even make sense in today's time. You know what I'm saying? People don't even got money to even buy no records. Can you even buy actual record in today's time? No one's no fanatic like that. Trust me. Trust me. You wouldn't have so many content creators online thinking they the shit themselves. So it's either somebody else hating from COINTELPRO or that's it. It ain't got nothing else. Do nothing. It damn sure ain't gonna be your real haters in real life. They don't even got time to do that shit. Or they'll be busy of trying to make content themselves or get money themselves. So this is some non-existent thing that somehow the institutions didn't change with the times that we all in, right? But the mental reasoning of a stalker or harasser can't be expressed around others, right? This is, so we're speaking if it is real, if it is a genuine circumstance or whatever the case may be, right? But we know it is being talked about amongst others if you're part of COINTELPRO, basically. But that's the only thing. A real stalker being caught in real life don't have a social media page unless it's a stalker page and they're doing real stalker things. And the stalker don't lead into any narrative that we know only be outcomes the CIA be wanting and stuff like that. That goes from hurting people, shadow banning, shutting people up about something that no one really cares about. You see what I'm saying? Like a whole bunch of stuff, the sentimentalism things. where they try to create a propaganda around something no one cares about in real life. So all they do is expose something that they're trying to control, that they funded, and then don't know why I get different reactions and responses, because people not looking at it the same way you looking at it. See what I'm saying? So this is a personal thing. So if a person online are presenting themselves like an obsessed individual, they're doing it. So let's go back. 7. The mental reasoning of a stalker or harasser can't be expressed around others if it's genuine. This is something that they only could do on their personal time, or whatever the case may be. So if a person is online, like that chick who was talking about Rihanna, right? If a person is online presenting themselves like they are obsessed individuals, that's Fed work. They're doing Fed work in some capacity. And don't ever question anything else. You better not ever question anything else. Everybody from the hood know that. That's why a lot of people ain't talking about that. But it seemed like the institutions don't know why people ain't talking about that. You know what I'm saying? So I guess y'all hating on people that y'all need to hear advice from, because y'all plans don't be working, and y'all don't be thinking people be knowing that y'all plan. So when y'all do something with that starting point plan, that's what make it crash out. Not y'all looking at what y'all made up to do and think that, okay, that just didn't work. Well, let's steer people into that. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's the practice itself. This is why people is looking at the rap game the way it's looking at it. It's something y'all doing as a practice that people is tired of. So it don't even got anything to do with y'all songs or anything of that no more. You know what I'm saying? You come out with the best cold record, any type of record right now. How you did it though, that's a distaste right now. And a lot of y'all seem to still keep acting like colonists without knowing it or something like that. A lot of y'all need to do y'all history and research, especially if you're a different ethnic group. You need to be ashamed of yourself. Learn what colonist mind state is you in, so you can start like changing your life so you don't go to hell. But like I said, the mental reasoning of a stalker or harasser can't be expressed around others if it's genuine. So if a person is online presenting themselves like an obsessed individual, they're doing Fed work in some capacity. The actual stalker don't have no one in their personal life, in their personal life as interested into that celebrity or person of interest. So I'm saying, like, an actual stalker or an actual person that's harassing people don't have other people in their life that's as interested in that celebrity or person of interest as them. That's one of the reasons why, if it's genuine, these are things they keep to themselves if they're a people person, or they're just a weirdo in general. And it started way before there was a stalker. There was a weirdo in high school, there was a weirdo in junior high, and there was a weirdo in elementary. And their parents was weirdos. So these what needs mental institutions. But if we're not about to have mental institutions being talked about, any form of harassment or any form of stalking is only purely on the ground basis of COINTELPRO, and the government is involved in it. Other than that, it don't make sense in these times. And I don't think the government is involved with real people in real life enough to understand that. So if you're only having conversations with people that try to update these tactics without understanding the room, you don't know how to read the room, you could purely be funding something and lose money and crashing out thinking you're doing something that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like creating a COINTELPRO to raid crack dealing houses when everyone is selling fentanyl now. You wasting money. Like, who are you chasing? So it just becomes a joke to even the fentanyl seller you're trolling, or you're harassing or stalking or investigating. You're making them look at you as you crashing out and everything that come with you. You see what I'm saying? Because it don't make sense. All the tactics that was made up for crack dealers isn't even the same world as fentanyl. First of all, you don't get fentanyl the way you get dope. So anything that was made up from them tactics to be used on a fentanyl person is stupid. But I'm using that as an allegory of what COINTELPRO is doing with this harassment or stalker thing right now. And even for the small groups of people that actually have this illness or whatever the case may be. We can only describe them from being a person that's away from their own family or whatever the case may be anyway. And somehow they got enough money for gas, which is another oxymoron. But let me go ahead and finish this off, right? Because we all adults. The mental reasoning of a stalker or harasser can't be expressed around others. This is only a personal thing. So if a person is online, making it not personal, it's fed work, period, right? The actual stalker don't have no one in their personal life that's as interested in their celebrities or person of interest as them. It's more on the embarrassment side of life, just how things play out genuinely in life, that everybody from the hood know the difference between undercover cop and reality. I'm just using that as an example, undercover cop and reality, to the nuance of your elbow move a certain way when things actually happen, other than you coming with a presupposition or a motive. And then you read a book about people elbow move this way. So if you move your elbow this way, you would convince everybody that your elbow hurt. You either actually hurt your elbow and moved it that way, or you're a cosplayer and trying to move your elbow a certain way to convince others that your elbow is hurt. But the hood pay attention to that. I don't understand. Y'all it's slow. You could see it through every industry, business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics, how there's too many nerds involved. And nerd goes beyond just being book smart and street smart. It's unexplainable, but it's basically what I'm saying, how I'm trying to explain it. Y'all haven't made schools for it. But that's what we pay attention to. This would make us not want to buy y'all stuff no more, or make it so obvious when y'all practice these things on us, or how things look stupid and y'all always need creative directors for something or whatever the case. It's like y'all not involved in life at all. Like, to even for these things to be a thing and y'all not to realize why it's obvious. And the average individual who probably live up under the bus station can, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so y'all got to update y'all game. So it's more, because when we think about real things playing out, it's more of an embarrassment side of a life of a person on a percentage scale. When it comes to a stalker in real life, a stalker got family and friends too. That's an embarrassment. So ain't nobody online expressing themselves being no damn stalker or whatever the case may be. This peep game. Or so you have to be either institutionalized, or I'm not racist, but I lived in life long enough to see these traits. And it's not all of them, but it's just some, and it's just the way they think. Or you have to be European, like, to think that these things is normal. You're institutionalized, or you're European. So you're born with the DNA gene to think pop culture things is normal or whatever. Or, hey, let's come up with arguments about other people's beliefs, or let's come up with manipulation tactics or whatever. You know, like, stuff like that. Like, that's a gene. Like, everybody don't have that gene. So if you a different ethnic group, you was institutionalized to have it. And that's why you can't never help your own people, or quote unquote wake up your own people, because it's not enough of y'all who think the same. I don't have to wake up my own people. We already think the same. Y'all be having to go on these colleges and stuff like that, and it still don't work. So y'all be online crashing out, and all these institutions crashing out and stuff like that, and saying we this and us that. You don't understand that you're in that position because you're colonized, and you're lost in TV and celebrities. That's an American thing, right? That's not even all of America. So this is what even the government look at as lost individuals or sheep. So we can see this online right now. Let's say you got online and you see a whole bunch of videos of people talking about the war, and or talking about what the government doing, and all you hear them saying is, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do that. That's a sheep. Everything they talking about has nothing to do with their life. and they got something on their mind that they think they're talking to their people. That's an American thought. Like that's made up. That person either institutionalized or they're agent themselves. But that's not a thing. When you make a culture in your own government, you're already amongst your people who think the same. That is not something you go broadcast. It's not something you're trying to get famous off. Like, I don't understand y'all. And we're so much in this new shift, it don't even look right in today's time. I can see if we were still in 2016 or something like that. It just seemed like a bunch of cosplayers copying people who got their own lives right now. So you got a bunch of people copying me right now. You got a bunch of people making up things out of thin air to try to make as a narrative, thinking it's going to cause some type of rage bait or whatever, right? You're on your last leg. You come from an industry. All the industries is on their last leg. Like they reach their last leg. It's the end. So that goes for music, business, entertainment, education, religion, and politics. Music is part of entertainment. If you're part of that quality, this is why you're doing what you're doing right now on an extreme level. It's at its last stage, and it's not causing the same reaction that it used to. It's at its last stage. It ain't just with hip hop. It ain't just with entertainment. It ain't just. It's with the institutions that made these things. The reasoning behind it is over with. It's over. It don't even make sense for you to be doing what you're doing. This what makes LaRussell be obvious that he an undercover cop. So now we got undercover cop rappers. LaRussell is an undercover cop rapper. So any platform you see LaRussell on, they're an agent. They're in the industry being paid to talk about two sides of a bird. But it's not enough of y'all for that to make sense in today's time. That's my point. It's 97% of us as people we just not into that. That's the old world. Y'all showing yourselves that y'all like 3% of the world at the moment. Any news about any other country, everybody who worked at that news, you're 3% of the world. You're not. It's not a factor. I don't get what y'all doing. It doesn't make sense. Even if y'all want to talk about like the war and stuff like that, which I ain't even talking about, it's dumb. But let's say y'all talk about it or whatever the case may be. In reality, y'all just got people y'all don't know claiming you involved based off this American term about something. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Let's say you got a next door neighbor, right? And your next door neighbor got a problem with somebody at their job. What the hell that got to do with you? So let's say that your next door neighbor job was called America. So you the next door neighbor. So you finna allow your next door neighbor to claim you need to worry about something that's your next door neighbor problem and they problem at work? Like, I don't get it. Like, how, like you get what I'm saying? Like, any narrative about a whole country being mad at citizens of another country is asinine. That has to be updated. That don't make sense. You see what I'm saying? You can't use that no more. So that's why a lot of people are not talking about that anymore. It doesn't make sense or whatever. I understand once upon a time how people could be lost in a gaffle or whatever, but stuff have to be grounded on genuine basis in today's time. That doesn't make sense to the point that if it's acted upon, that institution is going to lose funds and it's not going to be reacted to the way that people think. You can't be a person putting a stranger's life in danger in today's time. That don't make no sense. So it doesn't make sense to think a whole country is mad at another whole country. It's only a person business mad at another person business, or a person has a one-on-one enemy amongst each other. There ain't no such thing as a whole country being mad at another whole country, and if you do something to that country, you're going to make the other country mad. What are y'all in, a religion or something? That don't make sense in no reality. So I hope that's not being no narrative or whatever the case may be, because you could bet your bottom dollar no one in another country give a fuck about somebody in another country. And if it is being globalized ain't nobody involved in that business. So it can only be problems amongst them. And I never seen somebody crash out and warn the person they have a problem with before they do something. So obviously it's dumb. Use your money for something else, not narratives, especially stuff of shifts that we're not in. Like, you got to really think about it. You an American, right? You a citizen, right? Whatever China doing, you would never care to be an American spy and claim that you want to go blow up a territory in China. What make you think somebody in China think that way? What make you think somebody in any other country think that way? So you're lost on TV. Like, that's my point. These things never been global. It's never been. If I wanted to make a business right now, and it just so happened, let's say my business is television, that ain't my fault. You lost in one of my businesses other than the other. I might got a tire company. You're just lost in my television business. That don't mean my television business and my tire business is worldwide. You get what I'm saying? So just because my television business got possibilities of it can broadcast things beyond just your neighborhood, and my tire business can't, doesn't mean that it still ain't just my businesses. Now, my television business, I might can convince you that I'm selling tires in another country, but you the only one who got a sign up on for you could come buy my tires. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. Now, if you did some research and it was like, well, let me go see if people buy his tires in that other country. No, they got Firestone. Just like somebody in China was to do some research in America and see we got Firestone. You see, y'all too lost being in America first. See, I got to separate y'all. It ain't all about you having a car somewhere. How about putting yourself in the shoes of somebody else in another country and they don't got Firestone? You get my point? You know what I'm saying? That's the common sense of it. I don't understand everything else. Unless I'm just going to be intelligent and break it down as a lecture and say it's outdated. But for the most part, that's it. So, for the most part, when we get into small degrees of harassment and stalking, it's only going to be a small degree of lost individuals or a small degree of COINTELPRO. It is not a big thing in the world at all. So here's the thing, right? Because it's all performative. So to a small degree, the same people who made these institutions train y'all minds in this way. So even when you think you are being a normal person, if you are a content creator on a small percentage scale, you are a stalker or harasser of celebrities. If you're a content creator based on gossip, right? Because these are the people that's your interest, and you constantly make content about them. And what does that take? It's a practice. You have to search, you have to investigate. But you think it's normal because it's on a small scale. Now here's the thing, get your money. A lot of these things are entertainment when it's left in entertainment box. So all of us like to be entertained, but we're not going to get past the fact of that in that safe space come from something from mental illness people in general, based off reasons that ain't got nothing to do with that. You see what I'm saying? So we have to keep that in mind. They make y'all think these things is normal, but it's not. So you'll get online claiming that you got a career and you just found the life for yourself online by getting up and talking about another person every day. Colonists and Europeans created the concept of, like, the news network. Let's talk about other people. It started with, let's talk about these people. Let's talk about natives. Let's talk about their religion or whatever. And let's come up with arguments about it. So that comes from them. That don't come from no in-house culture. Y'all need to understand that. Just in totality. I'm saying it come from colonists. Even if you are another ethnic group, you need to know it comes from that. It don't come from anything else. Right? So you might be doing it in a safe way, but do know the reason you're able to do it is because we got YouTube. And if that's one of the main things that's allowed, it could have been anything in the world, but it's that lets you know the institutions is created by people who have mental illnesses, and they're fanned out. They're just fans. So money don't mean nothing when you just a fan. This is where circuses come from, or having slaves do stuff come from. You're bored and you don't got no culture, so you pay for stuff, like, or you're just fanned out of stuff that have nothing to do with you. Your culture is just being fanned out. So these are the same people who created pop culture, and you might be submerged up under it at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So it's one thing to talk about public information or the payola artists and celebrities use to let you know something, but the moment it gets to you being an investigator, right, for profit or attention on extreme levels, you're lost in some American culture that don't exist in no genuine way. It's purely made up by American institutions and their mind state, aka it's the way they think. So if you from the hood, this why you're more like me, and you don't reach out to people, and you can clearly see who AI or not, or who do Fed work or not, or whatever the case may be. Like, you know what I'm saying? So because when you look at it like this and things of that nature, it's clear to see people like Poetic Flacco is being paid by the feds. That whole concept, it's like a and other people like that, and Adam 22s and stuff like that. Y'all have to understand, y'all get confused from the fact that these are fed platforms. You see what I'm saying? So you might be a rapper right now, and let's say you have no volition to the industry, and you like, oh, I got to get online and show people how we do things. First it was Facebook, but now it's YouTube, right? It's a fed platform. So let's say if you start getting hot, right? They're gonna pay DJ academics to talk about you, right? Then whatever you're doing in your personal life, they're gonna pay other institutions that to watch you and create narratives around you. So whatever you're going through, they're going to give that information to another institution to start making narratives around it that make it seem like it's similar to your situation, right? So this when you know you're getting worked on. They're trying to eat. A fed is no one but someone who's fed information. It's a mental game. When we start to talk about ships and stuff like that, we're talking about it mentally, not physically. A lot of stuff y'all be involved in is not real things. They're mental things that keep you in a mental jail. So a fed ain't no one else but someone who get fed information. So if you work for the feds, you're no one but someone who get fed information. So if you hear a content creator always talking about what somebody sent them in their email, that's a fed. See what I'm saying? Whether they know it or not, they're being used by feds. It's like, you have to make things simple. Like a lot of these things is copycat from my people. They stole a lot of stuff from Native Americans and a lot of other things. Even though I'm mixed with African American, I'm not pure Native American, but just higher on a percentage scale. And my mother. But so my culture is created a lot of these things. Like a lot of the stuff the military do, they're copying Native American culture. I don't even think they know how to come up with their own names for helicopters or anything. I don't even think what American came up with their own thing. I don't think an American came up with their own airplane name, helicopter name, military drill name, guerrilla warfare name, the tactics, the spiritual system. It's like they're all looking at what was already done and created, and whoever couldn't do these things but had the money, like the Mormons or the Pilgrims or the Moravians, it's like everybody in today's time is practicing with their thought process. Like the person who have to pay for people to do things to get rid of people that they don't like. It's like all y'all think like that. But you're not creative just to have something on your own. Like you constantly have to be in other people's business. So you steal their tactics also. So it's like everything the CIA do. It's like you're copying Native Americans, especially when it comes into like stuff like honeypots. Like when they send a honey, a honey trap at you, or a espionage where you attack someone in a way that they don't know it's coming. But the way y'all doing it is like a job, so it's not even the real way of doing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's dumb. It's dumb. It's like, and then to practice these type of things online shouldn't be done. You should leave that in the old world or when it's applicable for real reasons. You know what I'm saying? It could be a situation like a small institution will try to do something online, but crash out immediately based upon what the institution just taught you to do. They might tell all y'all to get a pet, or they might tell all y'all to have a certain symbol or to say a certain phrase or whatever. When you involve yourself, like online is like real life now, because you're blending yourself with people real life, right? You crash out that way because us in real life is doing real things. So these are some of the things we beat people up for, spot out, tell people, look at a person that's amongst our family, friends, and associates like you have a problem for being, why is you this way? Even if you go amongst other people that we all know in the neighborhood, but they're not a part of something and you just went with them because you're lost about something. Like, even that, these come with genuine tactics. So back, like before 2016 and stuff like that, on TV, that's one thing. Online, and you trying to be a content creator, you mix yourself amongst everybody. Or you try to contact a content creator. You're mixing yourself with people in real life. And people in real life, we're not involved in those things for us to come up with creativity and stuff like that. So that's the first thing we're going to see. This is why so many artists crashed out online in today's time. Because us as real people got to see you use like eyeballs or those militia tactics, those colonist tactics, right? So it like, it make us feel bad. It's like, damn, we like your creativity, but like you just an agent. You just a colonist. Like, I don't even like it no more. Like, I don't care how good it is. It's like that. And y'all didn't have online before to hear 98% of the world perspective about y'all. Because Illuminati is another word for industry. Now that y'all online, y'all getting y'all spiritual ass kicked and stuff like that. Because y'all realizing the tactics y'all use only was applicable when y'all wasn't interacting with regular people. So y'all didn't know the audience thought forms and stuff. The only thing y'all know is the attention y'all getting is and what y'all handlers telling y'all, and how y'all get beat up every time y'all go back to the hood and stuff for reasons beyond what I'm talking about. But it has everything to do with what I'm talking about. You got a deal. You doing things colonist ways. You got a record deal. You're away from us. Go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. But y'all getting a taste of reality being online right now. Since people like me made YouTube the new TV, you finally getting a taste of reality. And you're starting to realize America may have just been lost in a mental illness. A whole bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with reality. But I love all y'all from the bottom of my heart. Like, you know. For sure. You're not listening to the Mind of Military's Move. I am the Royal Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and responsibilities. Erector Swah, help hold that yellow hoop. Massasoit, Mama Natoid. Woo! Master